Good morning, children. Once again, we are back with the online classes. We will continue with Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 1. In the last class, we discussed with the first two dialogues in the opening scene between Antonio and his two friends, Salenio and Salarino. We now move on to the third dialogue, where Salarino and Salenio, they are trying to convince Antonio, they're trying to search for an answer to the question which is there in the mind of Antonio, and that question was, why was he sad? So we see that Salenio, he says, "Believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, the better part of my affections would be with my hopes abroad." So here Salenio says that if he had business or his ships were at sea, just like Antonio did, in that case Salenio himself would be worried. His mind would be there on his ships which are at sea. "I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind." Now, in those days, when people wanted to know the direction of the wind, there were various techniques. They would use sand, they would use soil, and over here Salenio said that he would be using grass. So basically, whichever direction the grass would blow, or whichever direction the sand would blow, in that direction the wind will be blowing. Now, why was the wind so important? Why was he stressing upon the wind? Because in those days, the ships, the boats that were in use were not run by machines or engines. They used these sails. So they always waited for the right direction for the wind to blow. For instance, if they have to move towards west, so they have to wait for the wind to blow towards west, so that the ship too would blow towards the west. So Salenio said that if he had his ships at sea, he would be plucking the grass to know where the wind blows. He would also be peering in maps for ports and piers and roads, and every object that might make me fear misfortune to my ventures, out of doubt, would make me sad. What else he said? That he would be spending time peering. Peering means to check, to look, to search. So he would peer, he would look into the maps to search for ports. Ports were a place where the ships could dock, especially when there is a storm, in stormy weather, in bad condition. At least the ship could dock up at these ports. He would look at piers and roads. Piers and roads, piers are these stars, like watchtowers. You have these lighthouses. So in other words, he would look at the settlements, cities. And also he would look at all those things that would cause danger or risk to his ship. And he said naturally all these things would make him sad. If there are these problems around his ship, it would make him sad. Salarino. Now this is a very important dialogue. "My wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ague when I thought what harm a wind too great at sea would do." Now here Salarino, he tries to tell Antonio that if he had his ships at sea, then he himself would be very sad. And what would make him sad? Every small thing would make him would remind him about the dangers at sea. For instance, here he says that when he would be cooling his broth is soup. So when he would be cooling, that is blowing into his soup, just like when we are drinking a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, then to cool it, we blow into it, right? So here Salarino was doing the same thing. When he would cool the broth, when he would cool his soup by blowing into it, looking at the wind, or you can looking at that ripples caused due to the blow into the broth, into the soup. You know, when you blow into a cup of tea, what happens? You find that if you blow too hard, you find that the coffee or the tea would spill out. There'll be a lot of vibrations, there'll be a lot of ripples, right? So in the same case, he said that when just our breath, our blow can cause so much of chaos in the cup of tea, that soup, the broth, what Salarino was talking about. Just imagine the case of the storm in the sea. What danger it would cause to the ship. Then, so this was the first thing. The first thing that reminded him of the danger at sea was the cooling of the broth. And what danger it was? The fast moving wind. The second thing that reminded him of the danger was, let's read it. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. The second thing that reminded him was the sandy hourglass. And those days, instead of wristwatches, wall clocks, they used the hourglass, the sandy hourglass. In that, already most of you are familiar with. So there are like two inverted canopies, two inverted triangular canopies, in which you have the sand, and the sand keeps pouring downwards through that opening in the middle, in the center, right? So that was how they kept track on time. So whenever he would look at the sandy hourglass, the sand in that glass, it would remind him of the shallow waters and of the flats. Shallow waters, shallows and flats are the same thing. He talks about, naturally, shallow waters, it's very dangerous for the ship. Why? Whaling her high top lower than her ribs. Yes, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, whaling her high top lower than her ribs to kiss her burial. Because generally, and in those days it was very common, these ships would get stuck. They would get docked, would get stuck in these shallow waters. And so eventually the ship would fall towards one side, and soon they would get, it would seem as if the ship gets buried into the sand. This is what he says over here, whaling her high top. In other words, turning down, falling into the shallow waters to kiss her burial. In other words, to get destroyed. So these wealthy Andrew means wealthy ships. These are ships which are laden with rich commodities, rich goods. So this was the second thing that reminded him of the danger. The shallow waters and the shallows and flats, or the sandy hourglass, reminded him of the shallow waters and the flats. The third is, should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, which touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream, and robe the roaring water with my silks, and in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing. So third thing that reminds him of the dangers at sea was the walls, the holy walls of the church. The holy walls of the church. Holy edifice. Edifice of stone over here is the walls or the structure of the church. So whenever he would look at the rocks of the church, it would remind him of those perilous, those dangerous rocks at sea. All of you remember the Titanic, how it sunk. it hit against the iceberg, and the ship had sunk. Over here he talks about those dangerous rocks, those pointed rocks, and when it would touch his ship would naturally get destroyed, and all his goods, the spices and his silk, would get destroyed. And in a word, but even now worth this and now worth nothing. So what does he mean over here? That at one moment, that ship which had so much of goods, it was worth so much, and at the very next moment, in a snip, now it is worth nothing. Shall I have the thought to think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing be chanced would make me sad? He says, so if I had my ships at sea, and all these dangers, if would remind me, whatever, all these things would remind me and make me sad. But tell not me, I know Antonio is sad to think about his merchandise. So he says that, now he says, I know very well that Antonio is sad because he is thinking about his merchandise, his ships which are there at sea, about his business.